swaths of territory in Syria and Iraq, beheaded Western hostages, ordered Shiite Muslims and moderate Sunnis to convert or die, and declared an Islamic State caliphate. British Royal Air Force jets based in Cyprus have joined the fray following Friday's parliamentary approval. Their strikes will be limited to Iraqi territory.
Well, we are one part of a large international coalition, but the crucial part of that coalition is that it's led by the Iraqi government, the legitimate government of Iraq and its security forces. We're there to play our part and to help deal with this appalling terrorist organization.
At the United Nations General Assembly, the Foreign Minister of the United Arab Emirates used his address to highlight the threat posed by Islamic State militants to other parts of the world. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi, meanwhile, said Beijing supports the international community in responding to the threat posed by terrorist forces. He urged the UN Security Council to play a leading role in counter-terrorism response. He added that there should be no double standard when it comes to fighting terrorism, particularly if the terrorism is identified with an ethnic group or religion. Alan Bookniat, TVB News.
The president of Spain's powerful northeastern region of Catalonia formally called an independence referendum. Yesterday, Catalan leader Artero signed the decree to call the referendum planned for November 9th in the regional government headquarters in Barcelona. Pro-independence sentiment in the economically strong region, where the Catalan language is spoken side by side with Spanish, has surged in recent years. It's been fueled by a sense the region deserves better fiscal and political treatment from Madrid. Spain's deputy prime minister said the government will hold an emergency meeting within days so the referendum can be challenged before Spain's constitutional court.
And still ahead in our newscast, a popular Indian politician is jailed for corruption. A mosquito-borne illness spreading in the Americas. And a Ryder Cup action in Scotland.
Its greenery has rapidly vanished.
Tokyo is just concrete now. Nature has disappeared.
We really have to conserve nature.
But Tokyo wants to reverse the trend. Monday, Naturopolis, the last episode, at 9:30 on Pearl. Shanghai Hong Kong Stock Connect will enable investors of their respective market to trade eligible securities listed in the other's market.
沪港通对内地和香港金融都有重大影响，各项运作细节你又清不清楚呢？
Harvest the potential opportunities from this groundbreaking initiative. In Putonghua only. SHHK Files, every Monday to Friday, at these times on Pearl. The time now is 7:48. The time check was brought to you by Seiko.
Welcome back. A former movie star and one of the most popular politicians in South India has been sentenced to 4 years in prison over a corruption case that lasted nearly 2 decades. This is Jayaram Jayalalitha, and she will have to step down as Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu after the court in Bangalore found her guilty of possessing wealth disproportionate to her income. She had amassed the equivalent of $8.7 million worth of unexplained income. The court has also fined her 1 billion rupees or $16 million. Jayalalitha's supporters say the case is a political conspiracy to discredit her. Even though Indian politicians are rarely convicted and almost never spend time in jail, one leader of the ruling BJP party says this case proves India is changing and even the elite will be prosecuted.
And whether Jayalalitha goes to jail or not, the more important thing is that a person who has been accused by an ordinary citizen, which I was at that stage and still am, has been holding high positions as Chief Minister and so on, and several MPs of our party in Parliament. And the court has found her guilty. May have taken time, but it will generate confidence in the country that we can fight corruption. And we can fight corruption at high places.
Liberia's chief medical officer, who is also the country's deputy health minister, has put herself in quarantine as a precaution against Ebola. Bernice Dawn took the action after one of her assistants died from the disease. Dawn is just one of the latest West African medical officials to be directly affected by the Ebola outbreak. More than 3,000 people have died from the disease as it spreads across most of Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Guinea. With a shortage of beds for patients growing increasingly urgent, U.S. Navy engineers graded a site for construction of a 25-bed hospital unit. Existing bed capacity in the region is 820, well short of the 2,900 needed. A mosquito-borne illness that arrived less than a year ago in the Americas is now raging across the region. In Cuba, authorities have ramped up a campaign to send workers door to door, fumigating houses, offices, and government buildings nationwide. The virus has now leaped from the Caribbean to the Central and South American mainland and has infected more than 1 million people so far. Some cases have already emerged in the United States. The disease, called chikungunya, is usually not fatal, but the epidemic has overwhelmed hospitals, cut economic productivity, and caused its sufferers days of pain and misery. In Colombia, about 4,800 cases have been reported, but officials estimate that number could reach nearly 700,000 by early 2015. All right, Chris, what do you have for us in sports today?
A little sports. Take a rest from the grief in the world. In the English Premier League, wins for Manchester United, Chelsea, and Manchester City. Meanwhile, Everton scored late to earn a draw against Liverpool. Here's Jamison Wong.